All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Skill Up Show. It is 1 p.m. that time in the afternoon on Mondays, where we come and talk about parenting and how we can skill ourselves and skill our children. I am excited to be on your screen this morning, or afternoon rather. If you are here, it should be break time if you're at work, okay? Let us know if you're here right now, okay? If you are catching the replay, also let us know that you are catching the replay. Now that I thought about it, it's 1 p.m. and it's on Monday, so we will be at work. But I believe that some of us are on break, right? So if this is your break time, welcome to the show. And if it is not your break time, then when you catch a replay eventually, let us know where you are joining us from. Let us know that you are a part of the show. All right. In this week's episode, we're talking about raising preteens who can stay focused in the midst of distractions. You will agree with me that in today's world, there is a lot of distraction going on around us. Now, how can we help our young children? How can we help our preteens manage themselves or stay focused amid all of the distractions? If you are here with me right now, why don't you say something in the comment section? If you are catching the replay, also say something in the description, in the comment section, so that we know that we have company or that you joined us for the show. Do you have a friend who is a parent of a toddler, the parent of a preteen, or even the parent of a young teenager? It is important that you tag them or that you share the link with them so that they can be a part of the show. In this show, we want to equip parents and have the parents in turn equip their children. So today we will be sharing tools that will be useful to your teenagers or your preteens rather. Of course, it will be useful to your teenagers also, especially your young teenagers. So, yes, why don't you stay on the show and let's have a good time together? My name is Maribel Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and the PTM Resources. I am also the proud matron of the Mastermind Circle, a peer mentorship and accountability group that we run for young children and preteens because we want to help them get the hang of their lives so that we do not have them distracted amid all the noise and all the distractions going on around them. Focus is the bridge between dreams and success. I'll take that again. Focus is the bridge between our dreams and our success. It is the bridge between your child's dream that they should have a lot of at this time of their life. Your preteens should be given permission to dream. They should be given permission to visualize a future that is possible because all things are possible if they can dream and if they can see their minds as a factory that can manufacture anything. So, yes, focus is that bridge between the dream that they dare to dream and how successful they will become. And it is our job, it's our role as parents to help them build this focus. So, focus is a thing, especially in today's world. Your preteen is an emerging adolescent. Okay, in case you're wondering, who is a preteen? So, your preteen is an emerging adolescent. It is that one that is transitioning from being a child to becoming an adolescent, and this happens typically between the ages of 9 and 12. All right, but in the mastermind circle, I like to refer to my 8-year-olds as preteens also because of how fast our children grow these days. And I like to bunch my 13-year-olds in there too because they have just become teenagers, and some of them are not, fast, or some of them are not as fast, right, in their growth process. So some of them may still be in that, in that area or in that space, right, of a regular preteen. All right, so your preteen typically is your 9 to 12-year-old who is transitioning from being a child to becoming an adolescent. All right, and these are the group of children that we want to help. We want to x-ray, right? We want to throw some insights, on how or why this group of children are so distracted. All right, if you have a preteen, then you would know what I am talking about. I have a preteen. I have someone that is right in the middle of her preteens, and a very busy and very sanguine one. So yes, I have a typical preteen right now, and I also have a young teenager. So I have just come out of that preteen phase, right? I have an almost 15-year-old. All right. So I know what I'm talking about. So we can be having this conversation. You can be having this conversation with me. All right. Apart from that, this is my forte as an educator and a child support expert and a child motivator. I work with preteens typically. So I am your guy. I am the person that should be talking to you today. And we're going to be looking together, we're going to be going on this journey, looking at why our preteens are so distracted and what we can do as parents to support them and how we can equip them with tools for this phase. Hi, Dr. Omolola. Good to see you always. How are you, Nate? All right, then. So let's move. Now, let's look at why our preteens are distracted in the first place. Why is my 9-year-old daughter, why is my 9-year-old son, why is he so distracted? Why is my child that is already 12, and I have been shouting since he was 9, I have been complaining since he was 10, he is 12 and he's still distracted? What is responsible for all of these distractions? Dear parents, first of all, your preteen is going through a lot, right? We said this is the phase between being a child and moving on to being an adolescent. So naturally, a lot of changes are happening inside, behind the scene, all right? And you can even see some of those changes beginning to manifest physically, all right? So hormones are raging and all of that is going on within the child. The child is also in that space or in that phase of their life where they are trying to obtain their autonomy, or they're trying to exercise their autonomy. So the child is beginning to know that I can do some things on my own. I can make some decisions. The child wants to make some decisions for themselves. So they're in that place where they are beginning to challenge some of your decisions or challenge some of your instructions. So the child is going through all of this in this phase. The child is also in that phase where you are beginning to expect more from them as far as responsibility goes. So this is the stage where your child is now in somewhere around year 5, right? Your 9-year-old is typically around year 4, year 5. Now, even you and their teacher is telling them you're not a baby anymore. So when they come to class and they try to seek attention, they come to school and they wouldn't write and they wouldn't do all of this, you are already reminding them of how they are not children anymore, because now you have more expectations of them. So see, a lot is already going on with your preteen, all right? In addition to all of the distractions, the gadgets, excess access to gadgets and all the other things in their environment. So these are some of the reasons why your preteen is already in a compromised, or in your preteen is already in a susceptible phase, or is already open to distractions. Basically, let's leave it at that. All right, so some of the things are, or some of the reasons, let's put it now in points now. So number one, your preteen is very curious. All right, the child is very curious. The child is in that phase where the child is self-constructing. Remember, the child has just come from being, from the foundation phase, basically 0 to 6, and the child has moved to school age. So the child has gained a lot of experiences in their environment through their senses, the things they've heard, the things they've seen, all of these experiences that the child has gathered over the years in the first 7 years of their lives. Now the child is beginning to make meaning of all of these things. He's beginning to construct his own what's the word? His own beliefs. He's beginning to construct his own mindset. He's beginning to construct, his own way of doing things, basically. All right, so the child is going to, why the child is trying to do all of this, it is making the child more and more autonomous and all of that. So the child is curious. He's curious about some of the things that he's learned. He wants to apply them. Some of the things that he has seen, he wants to put it together, and try them. The child is curious about the new things that the child is already seeing in their environment. So curiosity is one of the reasons why your 9, 10, 12-year-old is acting distracted. He's trying to figure out things in his environment on his own. He is self-constructing at this time, trying to take all of the experiences he's had over the years and apply those experiences and see the outcome, of those experiences. So yes, your child is curious, and this is one reason why he's all over the place or she's all over the place. Number two, technology. Access to technology, basically, it's an overload that is happening to the average child today. The average child has access to too many gadgets, too many options at the same time. Have you ever thought about it, that you live in a home that you have different options when it comes to entertainment? There is the bus system, that the child can get to play any kind of music, if the child chooses. There is YouTube that has, hundreds of, channels and hundreds of possibilities, or hundreds of, options for the all of the hundreds, and all of that of options. The child has got DSTV in the same house. So you see, apart from that, the child has got an iPad. The child has got a phone in some homes. The child has also got a phone. Apart from that, there is the TV. There is the smart TV. That same child has got, a computer. So there are too many technology, access to technology overload around the child. So yes, the child will be distracted. So that alone is enough to cause any child to be distracted. All right, number three, children are multitasking. Have you gone to a home and seen a child, right? Some homes you will go to, you will see a child with a phone, probably you're a 12-year-old. You see the child on a phone, probably on Discord, right? Chatting with his friend, or on Snapchat, chatting with a friend. Next to that child, you will see an iPad where the child was actually playing a game, right, on Roblox, and the child has just dropped the game to chat on Discord with his friend. Right in front of that child, the TV is on, and there is a program on Netflix that the same child is supposed to be watching, or the same child has flipped the channel to and is watching. So this is one person that is doing three things at the same time. Now that same child has got homework, probably 2 or 3 homework that has come from school for the weekend, probably even 4. 3 homework, 1 project. He has the iPad next to him. He has Netflix in front of him. He's on Discord on his phone. Just one human being whose brain is still in its very early developmental stage has all of these distractions. Why do you think the child will not be distracted? So these are the issues: technology overload, multitasking, children doing too many things at the same time. All right. The next one is there are no clear visions. There are no clear goals. There are no clear vision. Some of us are still in that place where we think that family systems should not be structured. We're still in that place where we feel that children should wake up in the morning, greet their parents, say a prayer, eat some food, and there is nothing else in between that forms any form of structure. Eat in the morning, greet people in the morning, eat in the morning, do your chore, have a bath, and that's about it. So children are done with chores and all of that at 10 o'clock, and the child is got from 10 a.m. all the way to 8 or 9 p.m. with no structure, no system, nothing in place. The child is just supposed to go on a free flow. Wherever we go, we go. Whatever we see, we see. All right, we are constantly winging these things. There is no there's no predictability. The child cannot predict anything. Hi, Joy. How are you doing, sis? All right, there's no predictability. It's neither here nor there. It's one thing today, it's another thing tomorrow. So when you are not there as a parent to give instructions or to micromanage, what it simply means is that the child will just relax and do nothing. So when this is the case, we have children who are highly distracted because there are no clear goals, there is no clear vision, right? Everything is anyhow. All right, the next one is the lack of discipline and boundaries. All right, so this is an offshoot from, when there are no clear goals, no vision. Of course, it's because you don't have no boundaries in your home. There isn't this is the time for this or that is the time for that and all of that. It will shock you. In some homes, children still come back from school. Your 10-year-old, your preteen, comes back from school, your 9-year-old, and he goes in, changes and comes, puts on the TV and all of that. That same child has got homework in his bag to do. That same child has got other things that the child could be doing, right? But hey, there's no discipline, there are no boundaries, so the child can just do as they like. So one minute the child is on the TV, the next minute the child is looking for what to eat, the child is eating this. So there are no boundaries, no discipline. There is no structure in the home. In that kind of home, you are bound to have your preteens who are highly distracted. The last one I am going to give you is too many expectations to perform. All right, expectations to perform. All right, so this is where we are today. All right, I like how Coach Wendy put it in her book. All right, she was talking about the trophy child, right? How there are some children who are trophy children, but these days we don't even have children who are trophy children. Everybody wants every child to be a trophy child. So there is the expectation that is placed on every child. The school is placing its own expectations on the child. Parents are placing their expectations on the child and all of that. So we find out that we're not working with children based on their strength. We are not differentiating our children to see their strength and see, of course, how they learn and all of that. We just want them to perform. We want them to perform and all of that. So the expectations are too many. And so the child is doing this today. The child is doing that tomorrow. The child is everywhere. So yes, that kind of child is going to be distracted. And these are some of the issues that cause distraction. Let me go back to people who are still in that space that they keep saying there is no need. I mean, they don't understand why homes have to be so structured. Somebody said to me one time, isn't it too much? Wouldn't the children become like robots when they have to use timetable in their homes? They are supposed to just relax when they are at home. See, you have to be careful, dear parents, when you have people tell you this kind of things or you have this kind of conversations. The truth is, we don't want you to overschedule your home, especially if you are a parent of young children. Don't overschedule your home, but by all means, have structure in your home such that if your children have to play, let's play, be in the system, in your routine. Let there be the space for playing for 2 hours. So don't just have, I don't know what I'm doing. At any point I call my home, or at any point you call your home, right? But without even being in your home, you should know what is going on in your home because you have a system, you have structure that you have put in place. Let nobody lie to you. The truth about it is, society has got its structure. Society has got its structure. People just tell you, or they try to whine you not to create systems in your home, not to create structure. Society has got its structure, and the structure out there in the society is very aggressive. And its goal is to make people think anyhow and do anyhow. So if you don't create your own boundaries, you don't create your own system, you do not pass your convictions down to your children, you do not teach them discipline, you do not teach them boundaries, you do not teach them your core values, they will go to society and they will roll with society or the structure of society. As they are rolling with that structure, you have left them naked because you have done nothing to keep them you've not given them nothing as a standard. So that is why we hear all the funny things we hear today. Do you? Let everybody do them. Do you? Free thinkers, free this, free that. It's because society is aggressive, and its goal is to raise people who do as they like. So come and talk about anything. There's no decorum anymore. There is no privacy anymore. Talk about anything anywhere you like. Do anything you like anywhere. So yes, you need structure. It is a thing. Please, parents, create it in your home and let your children live, and let your children know this. Let it be your conviction. It's a legacy. Pass it down to your children. So when your children come out to the society in its structure, your children have a guiding standard that is helping them navigate. All right. So this is it. So let's look at some of the things that can cause distractions for your preteen. Number one, parents, video games. Now, video games can be a distraction, of course, highly so. All right. So, what do you do as a parent? We're going to come back to that. All right. What we can do. Because am I saying here that your children shouldn't have video games? No, I'm not saying that. Am I saying that video games are evil? No, I am not saying that. But video games can be highly, highly distracting for your preteens. So there has to be a way for you to help them focus on what is priority or what is essential per time. So if you're going to have video games, then there is going to be a how to use them. There's going to be a when to use them. There are going to be boundaries around this. Okay, so for instance, our son has a PlayStation, all right? Our son has a PlayStation at home and all of that. But I don't know, I noticed I've not even seen him play on that PlayStation for some time, all right? For the longest time, right? I've not seen him play on the PlayStation. And that's because he can't do anything on the PlayStation throughout the week. So he can do so much on the PlayStation, he can't do nothing, it doesn't even come on throughout the week. And so, because the weekends get like sort of busy for him, you realize that even when he has the free time, the PlayStation is the last thing on his mind. He's probably just relaxing, he's probably gisting with his sister, or we're gisting, or he's reading a book, and all of that, But that's not to say if he decides to play a game, he can. He cannot. He has structured screen time. He's got a whole 4 hours structured screen time that he can use and get some PlayStation time out of it. But then again, he can only be on that PlayStation for 1 hour. All right, that 4 hours is for everything. His graphics design, his code, whatever he's doing will fall within that time. So we need to create systems and structure around the use of these things. If not, they become a distraction to our children. Number two is friends. Our children have too many friends that do not add value to their lives. Undefined kind of friendships. All right. So they have too many people. They are in a class of 50 people, and 90% of the people are their friends. Are we saying children shouldn't make friends? No, they should make friends. But we need to teach our children how to make or how to build valuable friendships, so that they don't build friendships, or they don't have friends that become a distraction to them. All right, so there is the need to teach them how to build valuable friendships, and so that they know how to manage their time. All right, I usually would say to my niece stays with me a lot of times when she's not in school, and she's in her 20s. All right, so there are times that I go into the kitchen and she is busy, okay, or she's trying to sew, she's trying to sew, and then a call comes from one of her friends, and you will see her leave what she's doing and she's on that call. You will go in there 10 minutes, she's on the call, 20 minutes, she's on the call, 30 minutes, she's on the call. And so one day I said to her, you will see down there, someone will be using their leisure time to take away your work time. All right, because you never know, that person has finished being productive, all right, and this is the person's downtime, and here you are at the time that is supposed to be your busy time. You sit and you dedicate 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of your time, right, so that your work time becomes another person's. Your work time is what you sacrifice to another person as their leisure time, basically. So we must teach our children to prioritize, and we must teach them to block their time. So, and these things have start happening now that they are young. A lot of times when we talk, people will be like, let children be children. You see that statement? When you come around me and you use let children be children, I just walk away from you, because most times you will never hear people say let children be children when children are using big gadgets. You will not. Okay, there was a time I was talking to the kids, and I had just gotten a phone that was giving me some trouble. My husband had just bought me a phone, and I was there, this phone. I mean, it was quite expensive, and all of that. And my son looked at the phone and said, oh, this is the phone that, one of my friends has in school, and the child was only in year 6 at the time, right? His young friend, and all of that. So basically, that's the child with that kind of heavy gadgets, right. So our priorities are, they need to be in the right place, right? Our priorities need to be in the right place, and our children need to understand that priorities are very key, in whatever it is that they are doing. All right. So what were we talking about? So they need to understand. I think I went off there for a minute. So they need to understand that our priorities are very important and what it is that we're doing. And so they need to define their friendships so that they are giving their time, right? They're giving their time. They block their time. So you have blocked your time, and you have the time for different activities, right? So you're not using the time that you're supposed to be productive to play. So you can now say to your friend, all right, I'm going to call you back, or can we talk, or can we chat, or can you come around at so and so time? I'm going to be busy at this time. It's very important that we teach our children how to block their time. It's very important. How did I even get to that phone talk? I was saying something before I got there. All right. I actually got distracted there. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So we need to teach our children how to prioritize like that. The next one is television. So it still boils down. I mean, it comes back to, screen. A lot of screen, is a culprit in this whole distraction thing. All right. So TV time, TV shows, and all of that. And we know how it is. As I said, society's got structure. It's got structure, and it's very aggressive, and it's coming for your children. And that structure is to make as many people as possible free-minded, liberal-minded, do as you like. No way of life, basically. Just do as you like. All right. So if you go down, right, to TV shows, you will see some TV shows that the episodes are endless. All right. And then you see the kids get into the TV shows, and they move from one episode to the next episode. So it's been wired to keep people away from doing productive things, so that we are focused on TV shows for the best times of our lives, or for the most productive hours of our life. So if you don't teach children how to prioritize, you do not have your screen time, what time is allowed for screen time in your home, then your children will just go with the flow. All right. So having a media plan in your home is very critical. The media plan will spell what it is, or what amount of time the children have for screen time, what amount of time they have to watch TV during the weekend, whatever works in your family dynamics. It's very important. And it's important that we start teaching these things as early as possible. Do not listen when people say, oh, it was let children be children that got me to that phone conversation. All right. When people say to you, let children be children, as I said, when children carry gadgets that are huge and big, people do not say, let children be children. In fact, at that point, they will tell you, if you can afford it, get it for your child. If you can't afford it, just mind your business. They can afford it, so let them buy it. At that point, we don't say, let children be children. When children dress like adults, when we dress young children, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, dress up like real adults, we don't say let children be children. We say, oh, if the parents can afford it, please. When we spend our money, right, to adorn our children from head to toe in high brand designer quality, with attires and all that. I'm not saying it's wrong, oh. I am just saying when people come to you with that, let children be children, and they are not directing it, to where they should direct it, and they come to you because your child does chores at home, your 10-year-old is cooking in the kitchen, or your 8-year-old is chopping vegetables, or your 14-year-old decides to start a business and is doing a business, all right, then people come to you and say, oh, let children be children. The same people that will have their children wear clothes that are worth 1 million naira, and they don't think children should be children. All right, so children should now be statues that we dress up so that people can see the level of our affluence, right? Our children should be things that people can look at and give us accolades. Our children should carry gadgets that are bigger than them. They should carry things that they cannot even scratch the surface when they come. They've never earned. And we are not saying let children be children. Our children will stay and binge on TV for hours when we know that this is damaging to the child's brain. We're not saying let children be children. Our children will dance. They will be on the dance floor. They will dance in a way that is so erotic, in a way that is, you will feel embarrassed. And grown-ups are excited and spraying the child. Why is a dancer? Nobody says let children be children. Our children will sing songs that the lyrics are heavy. The meaning of the lyrics that these, musicians, are singing. And then when you talk, people will be like, they're not even thinking about it. The children don't even know. They just sing it. Nobody says let children be children at that time. The moment you teach your child to be skilled, the moment you start talking about children being skilled, we come with let children be children, because there is a mentality that people should serve our children. There is a mentality that some other person's 12-year-old, some other person's 15-year-old, some other person's child should be in your home doing all the things, all the work, all the, harsh and difficult work, while your children are chilling. Because somewhere at the back of our mind, right, this is how we give our children the life. So when people come around me and they start with that let children be children, I just walk away. Like, we don't have a conversation here if you don't know where let children be children should apply. All right. So the next one is daydreaming. All right. So because of all the access and all the things that our children have access to, these days our children are there watching musical videos where musicians and pop artists are throwing money around. We're constantly, talking about the net worth of, this young musician, that teenage actor, and all of that. So our children are constantly seeing wealth from a place of, how can I get wealth so that people will know that I have got wealth too. So they are in that space that they are daydreaming. How can I become this? How can I become an influencer? How can I? So because of all of these, distractions, because of all of these, information that is not well passed down to our children, because of all the things that they have access to that they don't have a business with having access to, you find them constantly daydreaming. All right, so that can be a distraction also. All right, and then the last one is when we do not have structure in our home, when there are no boundaries in our home, where our children do not have, any principle. There is no GPS in your home. There is no compass that guides where they should go, what they should do, what should be possible, what shouldn't be. When there isn't any of these things, you realize that this kind of children, that on its own can be a distraction, where there is no compass, or there is nothing, right, leading the children apart from you, their parents. All right, so these can all be forms of distractions, basically. All right, so now let's look at how we can prevent these distractions. How can we prevent these distractions. Now you know you are in this class, you are the parent of a toddler, and you do not want to raise a child that will be distracted, the way we are talking about these distractions. You don't want your child to be so distracted when they become teenagers or when they become preteens. What can you start doing today to avoid all of these distractions? All right. The first thing you want to do is you want to set clear goals and priorities in your home. All right, set goals in your home, priorities in your home. What is important to you as a family? What is essential to you as a family? Now, it's the things that are important to you as a family that you would begin to pass down to your children as early as possible. For instance, in my home, reading books is very important to us. All right, reading books very important to us. Building skills, very important to us, right? Building skills, personal development, reading books, all of that is important. So when you come to our home, you would see that the structure in our home gives precedence to these things. Now, do we not entertain ourselves? By all means, we do. Do we not do all of these things? By all means, we do. But when you come in, you will not meet the TV on DSTV. In fact, I don't think we've done DSTV subscription in my home for about a year now because it's not important. Right? Because it is not important. It's not priority. All right. Do the kids get to entertain themselves? Yes, they do. Do they have screen time? Yes, they do. When is that screen time? During the weekend or during the holidays? All right, because entertainment is not priority. Would you come to my home and there is one heavy your Afro beat going on in the TV room? No, you will not, because it is not priority. All right, so you need to define what your priorities are, set what your goals are, and this is what is passed down to your children, and this is how you begin to run your space or your home, right? And right there, you are helping your children not to be distracted, because now the things that are important to you is what you give time and energy to, is what we give time and energy to that will grow. So if you are that parent and all of these things, entertainment is important to you, it's primary to you, then you realize that this is what your children will see a lot of times. So this is what becomes what they give time. This is what the time and the energy in your home goes to. So yes, this is likely going to be a distraction. If in your home, it is important for you that your children are entertained, right? You go to homes and you see the children on their gadgets or in front of their laptop. 90% of the time they are right there. All right. So this is what you are giving energy to, or this is what you are allowing the children give their time and energy to. So of course, this is what they will gravitate towards. Is this priority? If it is priority, then O'Shea. All right. So what is your priority? What are the important things for you? Set clear goals, and let it run that way. Number two, you must create routines in your home, right? You will have to create routines if you do not want your children to be distracted. What do routines do? Your routine is the GPS. Your routine is the compass in your home, is how you schedule the activities in your home. And dear parents, do not raise children in an environment that is unpredictable. I beg you. There is nothing that causes stability in a disstability, okay, in a human being, like when there is no what do you call it? When you cannot predict the things in your environment. It's absolutely no. I know African parents. Our parents were raised with unpredictability. Our parents were raised, and a lot of them have raised us with unpredictability, but it is one of the ways that you make a child fail from the beginning. It is one of the ways that you develop an attachment with your child that is not secure. All right. A disorganized attachment, right? If you want to raise a child that the attachment between you and your child is disorganized, then raise the child without predictability, because now the child does not know what to expect, right? The child doesn't know what to expect. So Monday, the child is crying and you're paying attention to the child. On Tuesday, the child is crying and you are not paying attention to the child. On Wednesday, the child cries until the child goes to sleep. On Thursday, he's hungry, he gets food to eat. On Friday, he's hungry, nobody pays attention. So it is so the child does not, trust becomes an issue, right? Trust becomes an issue. The child cannot trust because the child does not know and is not sure. So the day the child gets it, hallelujah. The day the child doesn't get it, the child learns to soothe themselves. All right. The child learns, right, to cope. And so we raise children who learn to cope. So when we get, we get. When we don't get, we actually, the child will actually nurse themselves to cope, because the relationship, all right, or the attachment that the child has got with you is unpredictable. So unpredictability is a no-no when we're raising children. All right, it will come and it will bite you, dear parents. It will bite you. All right, why do you think that when children are infants, right, and you are able? I remember when I first had my first child, I remember my mother-in-law saying to me that when I want to breastfeed, or when the child wakes up at night to feed, that I shouldn't give them, I shouldn't give him food from, I shouldn't give him formula, basically. I shouldn't go make formula and give him to, eat, drink, from the formula, even at the time that the child, has gone off breast milk. She said I shouldn't do that. At every time in the night, I should breastfeed the child. So the day the child goes off breast milk, or the day the child goes off breastfeeding, then the child will sleep all through the night, because that is all the child knows that comes at night. So there is predictability. Do you understand? It's what causes stability in children. Predictability will lead to stability, because now why are we going far now? Think of it. You work in an establishment that your salary comes in on the 24th. I remember back in the day when I was a banker, all right, I worked with, a very efficient bank when it comes to, being paid salary. I know, whether anything goes up or comes down, that what salary will enter on the 24th. And so you could go about planning. You could plan. There was stability. So you could say, if I was a child, that I will have a secure attachment with this system, because I can trust the system. This is what, how many decades after, right? This is how many years after, and I can still hit my chest and say, as far as predictability, trust goes, this establishment is this. It's the same thing, dear parents. It's the same thing with our relationship. Let predictability be a strategy in your parenting, where your children can predict. This is where mommy will be at this time. This is where daddy will be at this time. This is what my parents would do if this happens. This is what they would do if that happens. This is where do you understand? Predictability, very key. So create routines in your home. That's where you are, wherever you are. I know that my children will be doing this at this time, because our system is predictable. When you do that, you help children learn. You help them become stable, right? Your children become stable. Your children become organized. It forms the foundation, right, for the rest of their lives, basically, and they can take this stability and this structure and this organization into other parts of their lives. Let's not raise children that will have to reparent themselves. Let's not raise children that will have to depend on offices and small systems, that will have to depend on offices and establishments to learn soft skills and core values. Let your children go, and learn what it is, the policies of the places where they go to. They move into a new country, let them learn what works there. But as far as core skills, okay, as far as their values, core skills, soft skills are concerned, let it come from home. Let it come from your convictions. Let it come from your values. Let it come from who you are, dear parents. Okay, so I think I've overflogged routine. So this is it. This is how routines will help your children, be stable and all of that. And when it's like that, the children will hardly be distracted. They are not all over the place because there is time for every time. I mean, there's time for everything. All right, very key. The next one is create an environment that promotes learning. Create an environment that promotes learning. You will walk into some home. The only thing that is a constant that you will see is everything that screams entertainment. You will see one heavy gadget, bus system for music, right sound check and everything. You will turn in another direction. You will see large screen. There's a large screen in the kitchen. There is one in the lobby. There is one in the living room. There is one, you can tell that the whole system in that home is built on the principle of entertainment. So there is nothing that is educational. You will probably look in that environment, you won't see a single book. You will look in that environment, you won't see a single abstract art that will make or trigger your child to try and understand what is going on in the mind of this artist. So we raise children in environments. Even in our conversations, the conversations that our children hear us have in our environment are not educative. They are not mind, stretching, nothing. All right. Even in the things that we watch on our TVs, you sit down there, your children are in your company, you are watching movies that are inappropriate for their age. You do not care, and nothing is intentional. All right, nothing, because you are running the society template that says everybody will find themselves in the society, will find their space. Let them think on their free thinkers gang and all of that. So at the end of the day, you have no structure. Your children are running with society structure. When it's like that, the next day they come and they talk LGBTQ and they talk about all the different, sexual, whatever preferences and all of that, and you are there. It's not African. It's not African. Who told you that it's not African? What have you done as per your convictions? What life have you lived as per your convictions? How intentional have you been as a parent that will position your child that such things will mean nothing to your child? Or you're just going to go with the fact that I am his father, I'm a Yoruba man, I'm a Hausa man, I'm a thief man. For that reason, therefore, I know how to shout. I know how to scream. For that reason, therefore. See, it go shock you. All right, it go shock you. All right, so let's move on, dear parents, okay? The next one is encourage regular breaks. Okay, so when our children, when they do the things, whatever structure, whether they are studying, they are reading, they are playing, let them have regular breaks. Okay, let them work a bit, play a bit, and all of that. Do not overstructure, or do not overstructure your home in a way that your children do not have free time. In all that you do, create that time, 1 hour, 2 hours, that your children can decide what they want to do in that time. All right, create that. Our daughter is 9 years old, and I told people, even now, our daughter still plays for at least 2 hours in a day. She goes to school, she comes back from school late, sometimes she comes back past 3, past 4. She still has 2 hours to play. So if you come around my house, you will see things like, let me show you the kind of things. You will see things like this all over the place. Our daughter is constantly creating, right? She's constantly creating one thing or the other because she always has her free time to do these things. So you will see her creating one art, creating that, and that's because she has that free time. All right, that time is very important so that our children can learn to initiate. They can learn to initiate things on their own. That's what creatives do. They are able to initiate, things on their own. That's what creativity is about. So create that time. So if you over structure your environment, if you overdo it, then you don't give them time for free thinking. I mean, for creativity, you don't give them time to initiate tasks. You don't give them time, to tap inside, you know, and do something, from their creative power. All right. So very key that your environment is structured in a way that teaches, or in a way that encourages learning. Our children should be raised to be lifelong learners, and we should invite them to learning through the way we set the environment in our home. Set the environment in your home to invite your children to play, especially if you're a parent of toddlers. Parent of toddlers, you need me. So I have a toddler group. If you'd like to be a part of that toddler group on Facebook, just put in the comment section, right in this stream as you're watching it, toddler group, and I will send you a link to join our toddler group. Right? There's so much. There's a lot that you can do to give your toddler a solid foundation. Solid. I have a solid toddler team. I and my partner, she is a toddler expert. All right. And then, of course, I'm an educator and a child motivation and support guru. So yes, together we have a formidable team. All right. And we're doing a lot in December and a bit of November with toddler parents. So you want to get into that community, just put toddler in the comments and I will send you a link to join the toddler community. All right. Very key. So for your toddlers, there's so many ways that you can invite your toddlers to play every day. You can just think of a theme. I want a theme, for the whole of this week, and I want to teach my child around that. Do you know you don't have to tell the child to come and sit down with board or anything to teach the child? You can just fix or arrange, you can just create an environment in your home, right, that invites your toddler to learn that thing naturally. Just put it there, create it, and then walk away. And then you will prompt the curiosity of your toddler to that theme, and put it. You can do it in a way in the environment that naturally your toddler will show an interest in learning in that area, because children learn best when they are interested in the subject of learning. All right, so you want to purposefully create an environment that invites your child to that theme, and so it will spark the interest of the child, and then you can use that cue, and then teach the child. That's why we say learning should be child-led. But you can trigger your environment. You can create the right stimulation in your environment that will invite your child to play in that area. All right. So join the toddler community. Let's take it from there. All right. The next one is engage your children in productive programs like the Mastermind Circle. Engage them in productive programs where they are mentored, where they are with children with like minds, where they are developing themselves personally, and all of that. You want to do that. Put that in your system where your child can start their own journey. All right. It doesn't matter how intentional you are as a parent. Children need to know that they are the most important people in their own lives. I tell the children in the mastermind that they are the pilot or the captain of their lives. Their parents and every other person, teacher, every other person is a co-pilot in your life. You are the pilot of your life. And so the child needs to take the front stage in their lives. The child needs to be interested in his own life. The child needs to start setting goals for his own life. The child needs to start taking his own life seriously. And this can start happening as early as possible. The child needs to start setting small goals for themselves. When this happens, then you have moved the focus from you to the child. And now the child is interested in his own life. This is how we have children who are self-driven, self-motivated. And this is how we have children who are not entitled. The problem why we have entitled children, some of us have entitled teenagers and young adults. You have so micromanaged your child's life, and you have made your child's life your trophy. You have made that child what you want to show off to the world. So every one of your conversation, in fact, your whole essence, the only achievement that you have in this life is that you have raised a child that is doing well. So when people see you, the crown that you are carrying invisibly in your head is mama, this person, mama lawyer, mama doctor, mama child that is coming first. So your whole life is you are working on the carrying medals of the person that has raised this kind of person. Elon Musk's mom should not do anything now, Abby. Elon Musk's mom should not do anything in her life. She has the richest man in the world as her son. Yet, in her 70s and 80s, she's a model. I mean, have you read about Elon Musk's mom and how she, on her own, she's made a name for herself? As a matter of fact, Elon and his siblings are all billionaires, right? And basically, it is because their mother was the trophy that they looked up to. Their mother was the trophy that they were proud of first. And so she inspired them to be. Some of us want to be nothing and just carry our children is what is our bragging rights. That's the thing. We want to make our children our bragging rights. So when we do these things, we we raise children who will definitely, struggle, children who will be entitled. And so because this is it, you are raising them to be your trophy, you are raising them to be your bragging right. So that is why when they go to school and they fail, it is your problem. You are the one crying, you are the one angry, you are the one upset, you are the one reeling out all the sacrifice after everything I've done for you and everything. Someone decides to fail, or someone fails because they did not do their best, and it is your problem. How? Why? Maka, how? Why? Do you understand? So we don't allow our children own their shame. We don't allow our children carry. We are there covering them, hiding them. We know who they are. We know what they are. Instead of putting all our weight to helping them become a best or better version of themselves, what do? We focus on fighting every other person around just because we don't want anybody to see our reality or their reality, saving them all over the place. So when we do that, the children think it's your life. It's not their life. So they can do as they like and they know that it is you. So when your child wants to pepper you, the child would... When your child wants to pepper you, the child will do something that affects their life just to get back at you. What is going on? Right? So that's why we have entitled children. Oh, you say, oh, you can't go to this kind of school. And the child says, I'm not going to go to school again because you say I cannot go. And don't go to school now. Sit down. Is it my school? Do you understand? So if we raise children, all right, if we begin to get children to take the front stage in their lives and they understand that they are the chief pilots of their life, it is their life anyway. You are just a support system and you are just a willing come-to person when they come to you. When we do this, then the children understand and they take their life seriously as early as possible. Not you have 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds that still feel that the life that they live should bother you. All right, so these are the issues, dear parents. So introduce or get your children, right, to programs like the Mastermind where they start learning to take the front stage in their lives. All right, introduce them to mentorship programs where you have people mentor them and all of that. All right, lastly, the last thing we're going to be looking at is dealing with distractions. If your child is already distracted, what can you do? All right, you want to first of all identify what the distractions are. What are the things that are distracting your child? You want to remove and replace. Remove the distraction, and don't just remove the distraction. Don't turn it into fight, insult. Look at you, don't know anything. All you see, all you know is computer. All you know is that you already can tell that your child is distracted. A lot of us are guilty of this. As I'm saying it, even sometimes myself, I get to that place where I am tempted to do that. And, I have to work intentionally, right, to walk away from that place. If not, you find out that rather than helping the child deal with their distraction, you condemn the child, you criticize the child, and the more you criticize the child, the less their confidence. All right, every single criticism that you give a child erodes a bit of the child's confidence and self-worth, especially when it comes from you, their parents. So that's why we need to learn other correction strategies, connecting to correct them and all of that, so that we do not rub off on their egos, not ego now, we don't rub off on their confidence and their sense of self-worth. Very, very key. All right, so identify the distractions and remove the distraction, and then replace it. So while you're removing the distraction, what is the child going to be doing in that time that usually he will be playing with a video game? That's where things like books come in. Okay, you may want to start with the kind of books, cartoon or kinds of books that the child will be drawn to, or you may want to start with reading the books together with the child. If your child is already dealing with distractions, you can't allow the child to unlearn on their own. You will have to join them in their unlearning and relearning process. So you must commit yourself. I said yesterday in the post, when parenting becomes difficult, when you get to that point where your parenting is difficult, all right, or when parenting becomes tough, it's because you are beginning to get intentional. Because unintentional parenting is not tough. It's nothing. Have you seen children who wake up in the morning and walk the streets? I mean, have you lived or been in areas like that where children wake up in the morning? You will still see the lines from sleep. You will still see that this child just got up, and then you see them walking the street and all of that. Those parents don't have to do too much or think too much. The child can wake up and then stroll, and then they only start looking for the child when it is time to eat. Where is this person? Oh, he's in Madam Mama, this person's house. Go and call him. He comes in. Usually when you are doing nothing, if parenting is not tugging at you, if parenting is not stressing, if parenting is easy flow for you, you are not parenting intentionally. You are letting things slide. When parenting becomes tough, in recent times it's been so tough, and I'm wondering, I mean, all those things I've been doing with the children, where is it? Right? I used to have a housekeeper, and the housekeeper is not here anymore. So it's just the kids and I. So because it's just us, there are some gaps, and the children's skills that are becoming obvious. All right, so they're becoming obvious, and I'm seeing, oh, there are holes here, there are loopholes here, and all of that. We need to fill this. But I'm in that space. I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that this was missing and that was missing, and it's really so tough right now. And that's because you are intentional and you are present to see what needs to be nipped in the bud, what needs to be unlearned, and what needs to be learned. And you are thinking, what strategy do I use? How do I do it? What tools do I need? What resources do I need? Buying the resources. When you buy books, you have to buy 3-4 books for the children every day. It will tug on your finances. Okay, all of that. So it becomes difficult when you have your 100K in your hand and you have to think, how much am I going to use for food? How much am I going to use to buy books? How much am I going to use to buy puzzle for the children? It becomes tough, right? It becomes tough. So parenting intentionally is tough. When you have to think, oh, I need to pay the tennis coach, I need to pay this one, it becomes tough. But when you wake up and it's nothing, pay school fees, after school fees, we move on. Every other thing till the next how many months when it's school fees, it's a bit light, okay? So this is it. The more you're doing, the more you're present. I have to create tools. I can't buy them, so I need to create it for myself, for the children. And you have to think of, what do I do? How do I go? It becomes tough. So when you are parenting right, it becomes a little tougher. So you're doing the work. So hang in there. Posterity will thank you, because you are being a blessing to humanity by raising children who will be a blessing to the world. All right. So identify the distraction. Use timers sometimes. So when you send your children to go and do a chore, the child is doing a chore, time them. Tell them, okay, you're doing the dishes. I'm looking at it. You could do these dishes in 30 minutes. The time starts now. Okay, time them. When children know that there is accountability, they put in their energy and all of that. All right, let them practice brain dumping. When there's a lot, let your children think on paper. Let your children write on paper. Let your children create to-do lists. In the mastermind circle, the children create a to-do list every day. So in the morning, first thing you do in the mastermind circle is you create a list of things that you're doing that day. So that becomes your tracker. That becomes your accountability. So at the end of the day, they also stop and they reflect, and you're able to look and tick off your to-do list and all of that. What are we doing? We're already teaching the children how to focus and concentrate and put their energy and time in the right place, how to manage their time and energy. Very key. Okay, by the way, if your child is not in the mastermind circle, you have 6 to 13-year-olds and they're not in the mastermind circle, you are missing a huge opportunity for building a solid foundation. If you're in the mastermind circle 2 years ago, you didn't know nothing yet. It's nothing like what you knew 2 years ago. In fact, if you were in the mastermind circle last year, you ain't know nothing yet. It's nothing. I say it's not bragging. I say there is nowhere you can get accountability and the kind of consistency that we have in the mastermind circle, because we have done our research and we've realized for the group of children that we are working with, consistency, accountability, and habit training is key. Okay, and we want to lock it in there once and for all. So we have a new cohort of the Mastermind Circle. It's called the Foundation Cohort that is starting in January. All right, you can register for that right now by booking a slot with just 5,000. You have the information on your screen right now. You can screen grab the information and go ahead and book a slot, and so that your child can join us in January. All right, where we will be teaching the children, we will be taking them through a process of setting goals for themselves. That is one of the biggest things for us in the mastermind circle. You will set your goals, and it's not like those goals everybody sets goal at the beginning of the year, my vision, but no, in the mastermind you are focused on your goal every time. Your goal is a part of your time in the mastermind circle. You can't set goals and walk away. It's a part of you, and you will live it and achieve it at the end of the day. Number 3, develop a power, help the children develop self-leadership. When they learn to direct themselves, they learn to, prioritize what is important. They learn to discipline themselves. They learn self-control, right? They are able to stay focused, basically. All right, of course, get them into a system of accountability, hold them accountable, and of course, get partners and collaborators. That's what we do with you in the Mastermind Circle. We partner with you, we collaborate with you to raise a wholesome child along about 9 lines, of education: self-management, home management, leisure reading, academics, spirituality, financial skills, and others. All right, so partner with us so that we can join forces with you and build a formidable team, and of course help your children grow to be wholesome people. Focus is not just avoiding distractions, dear parents. Focus is teaching your preteen, is teaching your child to align their time and their energy with their goals and their values. Very, very key. Thank you for joining us today on the show. We do not take it for granted that you were a part of the show today. All right. I am sure that you got value from the session. If you did, share with us. Don't take your testimonies away. Share with us, one thing that you are going to take, apply, and run with on your journey. If you'd like your child to be a part of the Mastermind Circle, go ahead and use the information on the screen and, of course, join us. And yes, I write books for children. We have amazing, amazing books. We have 8 books in 2 series, our Skillup series and our Stories for Champions series. You want to get that. We have a promo for this holiday. Okay, get any of our books or get, the bundle of our books, and you get your child into, the bonuses. We have 3 different bonuses. You can get your child into our vision board, our vision, vision workshop in the month of December. All right, in the month early January, where we're going to be setting goals. See, we throw the best goal setting party for children, both physically and online. But this year, we're only having an online goal setting party. All right, and you can get in by just buying our books, just buying our resources. Your child gets in for free by buying our resources. All right. So we have it all over the group. If you want, just write books and we will give you the information. But we have amazing books for children. We have playtime stories for champions. Beautiful. I write the most beautiful stories, with the most beautiful illustration. This one for your children from 0 to 10. Activities, activities, activities. I am hands on and I'm big on children learning through hands on. The children, the hand is the instrument of the brain. When children do, the brain develops. So here we have over 20 activities that your children can do, especially this Christmas holiday. I have Christmas stories for champions. I told you, write the previous books, lovely illustrations. See this book, it will make you laugh. So it's stories about what Christmas was like in the late 70s and early 80s, so that you can tell your children about those Egungun festivals. I mean, going home and you had the. So this one talked about the Ozo title in Onitsha. It talks about how people come, during December to take, the Ozo title. Beautiful, beautiful stories in here. Your children will just learn about our culture and all of that. So no, it's not a spiritual book, okay, but it's all about Christmas stories. So this one, what Christmas was like when the neighbors will bring rice and chicken. Can you see that? They'll share food all around. Our children don't know this thing, so let's write stories that will help them see and know what it was like growing up for us. So we have the amazing Destined for Greatness. Amazing. One of my latest books talks about African icons and that have done remarkable things. Gabriel Selassie, and people like that. Christmas stories. I mean, bedtime stories for champion. This is my first book, bestseller. We've sold over 4,000, close to 5,000 copies of bedtime stories for champions. Amazing. Talks about, I told you, we write the most beautiful books with lovely illustrations, and all of that. It's about children who are changing the world, who have done great things in the world. This one talks about family values. All right, great stories that grandma told her grandchildren. Beautiful wisdom stories for champions. And of course, we have the Skillup series. We have Young and Money Smart. We have Unlocking Excellence. Okay, and then we have our journal. All right, you can order any of these books. Okay, you can put books in the comments, or you can check in the group on Facebook, and you will see all our posts on the promo, and you can ask. We have distributors all around Nigeria, so you can get your book in the city that is closest to you. Our books are also on Amazon. Thank you very much for joining me again, and I'd like to invite you to join us on our um, how Can I Support My Child series. That happens on Thursdays at 7 p.m. You can join that show also. Other than that, I'll see you next week at 1 p.m. again when we take on another topic in the show, Skillup Show. Thank you again. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Bye. Oh, lovely week ahead. It's just Monday. All right, everyone. Bye, bye, bye for now. And thank you for joining me today. Bye. We gotta end.